The band's dying because I killed it. I'm Yoko Ono. No, I'm not. I'm John Lennon. Mary Fran's Yoko Ono. Yes. I hate the band. I've been wanting to sabotage it for years, and finally I've got a way out. I'm out of here, baby.
I'm sure that all three of us will have different reasons for why we're called Pandacar. It's quite funny because it was quite a clear decision in my mind of why we called ourselves Pandacar, but I guess as time goes on, we've maybe all misremembered it, and perhaps I'm misremembering it.
We are called, or were called, Pandacar because we had a list of like 100, maybe 1,000 names. Literally just just in a group chat, just chucking words.
I was doing my usual ADHD, we need to pick a name so that we can make a website and we can do this and we can do that and we can get gigs. So it was almost me forcing us to pick a name. And I honestly don't even know what other names we suggested. We must have suggested other names.
And for some reason, we were discussing like police procedurals, like Magnum PI and Hawaii Five-0 and all these weird like cop shows.
I'm pretty sure we were talking about True Detective for some reason, or like, oh, that's a cool name, like obviously we can't be called that because of the TV show, but then we started going into like detectives and like stuff.
And then, I don't know who came up with the idea in the end, but it's the idea of Pandacar being what they used to call police cars back in the 60s, because television came along and people had police TV shows, but they were black and white on the TV, but in real life they were blue and white.
And then I think you wanted it to be called Pandacar because you were envisioning more of like an Arctic Monkeys, like, I don't know, throwback 50s, 60s, I don't know, I've never listened to Arctic Monkeys.
We picked Pandacar because it's like one of the first words in the John Cooper Clarke poem where all the words are P words, and it's something like Pandacar, policemen parade the promenade in their panda cars. It's in there somewhere, it's one of the stanzas, it's one of the opening lines of the stanzas. And
then I think you retroactively were like, oh wait, no, it's in the Pandacar is in the past. Let's say it was that. It was never that, it was a random word.
It was just like this sort of thing from a time long forgotten. It was just a word. It was just like, well, I actually think we picked it and said we'll come up with a better name later, and it just stuck.
And I remember thinking, oh, people are going to think it's a panda in a car. You're like, no, only stupid people would think that.
As much as people wish it has nothing to do with pandas or cars. Well, it's to do with cars, but not pandas in cars.
It's funny to think what we could have called ourselves and what we should have been called, because I think the big problem with Pandacar, it suited us at the time because we were a little bit more like garage band, punky, indie, and something like that, you know, worked. I think a lot of people probably saw Pandacar and thought we were like pop punk. We probably should have been something more considered. I honestly don't know. We've come up with like a million better names in the 6 or so years that we've been together that were like, oh, should we just like change it?
We should have been called Quid Pro Quo.
I don't know, something less nonsensical, something more marketable, like, you know, even if we were called the Pandas, people would have been more on board with it.
We should have been called Quids In.
I think people were very confused by the name the whole time, and We could have, I don't know, we could have been called like the bottoms or something. I don't know, something. I don't want to be too offensive. You know, we could have been called the rotting carcass or something, and really lent into being obtuse.
Should have been called coin toss.
Yeah, I can't think of. I think because we've had it for so long, I can't think of anything else that we would be. But it's just a bad name, objectively.
I don't know. What is a name? A name is unuseful anyway. It doesn't mean nothing.
Should have been called Eddie and the Mackenzies.
He would like that.
The first meeting of Pandacar. So Nick and I used to work together, and we talked about being in a band, and then finally he snapped and went, right, it's time. Well, we both had been to Transmit individually in the summer, and we'd seen all these great bands, and we were like, holy shit, that was cool. Like, almost back to back, it was like Arctic Monkeys, Franz Ferdinand, For Darkness, The Killers, all these bands that we grew up with. It was insane. He then got a guitar for Christmas and was like, right, it's band time. And he got in touch with me and said, would you still be keen to make a band? And I said, yes, I'm not doing anything. And he said, cool, I know this little drummer boy. And that was Nathan. And we all got together, we went round to Nick's flat, and...
So when I first came round to yours, so you messaged like, do you want to start a band? And I was like, maybe, okay. And then you were like, we can play at this place on Tuesday, like come round tomorrow, Saturday, and we'll talk, and then we'll have our first rehearsal on Tuesday. It was like, it's a bit quick, okay. And then we came in and sat down, and you were just like, right, what do you want the band to be? What are we gonna be? What music do you like? No, it wasn't even that. It wasn't like, oh, what music do you like? It was like, what music will we play? How are we going to... We need to be serious about this. We're gonna play fucking... Is it Tea in the Park? Transmit. We're gonna play Transmit in 1 year. I know someone. We can play Transmit within 12 months. We're gonna get into the rehearsal studio in 2 days' time. You've not played drums for 15 years, but we're gonna write songs and we're gonna play with the main stage within a year. And you need to be serious about this.
He had a lot of plans. He had a lot of ideas. He said he had a bunch of songs, and he played us the songs, and Nathan and I went, okay, because we didn't really have any ambition beyond just being in a room playing music with people. And so we all went along with his plans, and at the start it was very like, the whole story about where Alex Turner had written the first Arctic Monkeys album when he was 16, and that's why it's so like urgent and youthful and raw. And that was kind of the idea Nicholas had, because he'd written all these songs when he was 16. Unfortunately, he wasn't Alex Turner. No. They were very good, but they were immediately eclipsed by the things we wrote after them.
And it was all a bit intense. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
But the annoying thing is, if we had played the songs that he'd written, we would have played Transmit within the year, and we would be the Snuts by now. We would be touring with Pete and Diesel and, Jerry Cinnamon and all these people. I wouldn't be. You wouldn't be. You'd have left if we'd played The Fear. Nathan, we'd have been superstars. We'd be playing with Blossoms and like Catfish and a Bottleman in this 1975. Can you imagine? We'd be opening the Hydro for all these shite bags. You didn't want to sell out? Nathan didn't want to sell out. I'd sell out. I'd sell out so fast.
As I come round to my flat, and I prepped the day before, Like I went through every piece of music I've ever written. I had like a just hyper fixation mode on like all this stuff. I had plans. The guys came round. I ushered them into my tiny little spare room in my flat, and I just like 10 commandments down from fucking Mount Sion like that. This is what we're doing. We're doing this. This is the Bible, and we're going to play shows, and we're going to do it. And like I really genuinely, I don't know if I genuinely believed it, but I wanted to believe it. It was sort of like desperation and last chance to like do something creative, because I hadn't done anything for myself creatively for so long, and I was just like, this is what we're doing. Like these are the songs. This is what we're playing. And yeah, I was like total tyrant mode, and I'm surprised they even like said yes. I'm assuming Nathan probably worried that I was going to kill myself, or you know, that poor little autistic man. But we survived the first few band practices. We survived that session of me basically bearing my weird hyperfixation soul out to the guys. Eddie was really quiet, which is weird because he's never quiet, and he'd never been quiet in the lead up to it. And I guess I took that as a sign that like maybe he liked Nathan enough, like that he'd like listened for a change. But I think he probably was just sleepy. Knowing him now, he was probably just tired.
I mean, Eddie didn't really. When I first met Eddie, he didn't really say anything ever. He was just quiet and nice. You know, the opposite of how he is now.
It was all very nice. It was all very optimistic. Nicholas had plans, and we were all going to be superstars and headline everything within a month. And then the cruel reality of the music industry kicked in, and we decided to be a weird little punk band instead. And the rest is history.
I guess I'd have to say my favourite songs that we've played live specifically, even though we've probably played it the least amount of times, Freezer Isle was just an accomplishment to get there, like to get to that point that we played it live. And it's such a anxiety-inducing, jagged little song. I love playing that live and seeing people be like, is this the same guys that played Sanctimonious? Like, that's always a nice experience.
Oh, some of my favourite Pandacar songs. I mean, of the ones people will have heard, I suppose you've got Nothing But Opinions. James Baxter is a favourite of mine.
Baxter is like a favourite.
Because I get to use my stinky little fuzz pedal and make a lot of noise. Sing like Sabrina Carpenter during the breakdown.
Obviously, it went away for a while live, and then it came back. But it's been nice to have that sort of like healing relationship with James Baxter, where we loved it, we thought it was the fucking best thing that we'd ever written, and then we were like, nah, we need to move on for this, we're going to write all these other songs, and then all of a sudden we're like, remember that song, James Baxter, maybe we should play that. So that's always fun to play. I think it's just because of the fact that it's so energetic, and then sludgy, and then energetic.
Historically, it would probably be history, because that's when we sort of started to realise what we were going for as a band, what we became. That's when it was like, just strip everything back and just and the lyrics were just funny and yet poignant. Another one of my favourite songs would be Not Man a Number, because again that's kind of the driving like doo 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 bass and drums, and then probably Waster as well. The lyrics especially. I like songs where Nick's lyrics are good, and that is a good one.
And then I guess I would have to say one of the songs we recorded with Luigi. Luigi's upstairs going, what the?
We need a couple of more takes. Yeah. We can do it in parts, okay? So, tune the bass. Sorry if I break your balls with the tuning, but we need it. Go the end now.
At least one of those songs is good enough that we went into the chord songs, and it's Get Out. Like, Get Out is the song that I think you either associate us with Get Out or you associate us with Sanctimonious, and Get Out was a bit of a turning point for us, and it was the song that long-listed us for Glastonbury, and it was just a big turning point for the band, and it was really nice to get into the studio with Luigi and record it. So those are my 3 favourite Pandacar songs.
Wash your fucking hands, you dirty animals!
My least favourite Pandacar songs, I mean, in the early days it was The Fear. I found it really annoying after a while. And then recently, if we had any that I don't enjoy playing anymore, don't know. Shite Bag's getting a bit old. Still good, but.
don't know. You know, it feels wrong to dislike any of your babies, but I suppose we have had some stinkers over the time. I don't know. It's not even that they're bad. It's just that they're not as good as other ones. Things like we all remember the classic Jeremy Corbyn song. That was a banger. I liked it, but I think it was a bit derivative. Everything else is perfect. I don't know.
But I'd have to say my least favourite song is one that I think we played maybe twice. I'm sure Nathan will correct me. His spreadsheet will tell us otherwise. But I think we played it twice, and infamously in the band was the song that almost killed Pandacar. It's not a bad song, but it was just like tonally completely wrong. It was like not Pandacar. It was just, you know, it wasn't all of us. It was crap that I had lying about from when I was like 16, 18. And it just, if I could go back in time and erase The Longer We Leave It, I would erase it from the Pandacar history. But it's there. There's a live stream rip of us in Brig Below, I think. Playing it really badly. Interestingly though, the guy that ran it was like, "Oh, I love that song, man, that was really good." But that's my least favourite. I think everything else, even the sort of ones that we wrote that were crap and never saw the light of day, nothing stooped as low as The Longer We Leave It.
Favourite Pandacar moment would be, I mean, when we first played King Tut's, that was really cool.
Where are you? I'm in the green room at King Tut's.
Obviously that was, you know, a big goal. Not that we played like a proper King Tut's gig, it was still like the introducing bands King Tut's gig, not a proper one. But like the fact that we actually sold like 40, 50 tickets and we headlined and people came and we actually played well. Actually the last gig that we did at Tut's was really good as well. Like that was a lot of the gigs more recently, it's been like, oh, can I be asked anymore? And that one was like, oh yeah, no, it's still fun to play, it's still good to play.
The best Pandacar moment for me is probably a toss-up, and I really want to say Glastonbury long list, but I actually think the best moment just as a band and like as friends was when we all went down to Newcastle and like we got in the car and it was like, oh, we're going on tour. Like it felt like we had finally broke out of Glasgow and we were going down to play a show in a different country technically. And it was just really exciting, and it sort of like was lining up with all our plans and our hopes for that year.
Are you hanging all your stockings on the wall? Are you hanging
catch us in Newcastle, boys.
Unfortunately, COVID hit 3 days later, and I think we sang "If You're Happy and You Know It, Wash Your Hands" all the way home.
If you're happy and you know it, wash your hands. If you're happy and you know it, wash your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, wash your hands.
It was just a really good gig. It kind of just like solidified the fact that there was something that we were doing that was working and it was right, and just unfortunately it aligned with the worst pandemic the world has ever seen since the Black Plague. So it was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
Another favourite moment of being in the band is making all the videos, except for this one. Nick's doing this one, that's why it looks so professional. But just the candid moments, the making sure to have a record of all of the songs, and that was always good. And I liked how quickly we came up with songs as well. It was like Nick would play a riff, and then within half an hour we'd have like the basics of a song. That's how we got like 50 songs, and people heard like half of them. Even though, yes, it was over 6 years, but technically it was only like 3 because of COVID and stuff.
I can't just use my previous answer, can I, of just being in the band.
Eddie.
Yes.
Been together for a year. What's your highlight?
Getting to meet.
Shut up!
It's been Nathan's attitude has been my highlight, and his delightful behind the camera demeanour. No, meeting 2 lovely boys. Well, I knew Nick, but meeting him properly and spending a year making noise and having good times.
So, sorry, your highlight of being in the band for a year has been being in the band for a year.
No! It's the personal relationships I've built, Nathan. I like the band!
I mean, I suppose, it's given some purpose to life, some level of structure, a creative outlet. It's given me a level of identity. It's cool to be in a band and be like, hey, I play in a band. People go, what are you? And they check us out and they go, ooh, dear, we're not going to go and see them live. But it's been fun, and I've been able to hang out with 2 cool guys for the last 6 years, and it's camaraderie, it's community, it's a way to spend a Thursday night, isn't it?
So, my least favourite would be one of the more recent gigs we did actually it was Broadcast or Nice and Sleazy's, I think, and it was just like I couldn't hear anything, like literally couldn't hear anything, and I just felt like I played like shit, and like it was at that point I think that we knew that we were breaking up anyway, and I kind of was like, what's the point, let's give up. But then, as I say, I had the King Tut's gig even more recently than that, and I was like, at least we ended on a high. Although we might have one more gig, which could ruin it all, but
Worst moment of being in the band. I mean, the whole COVID business was a bit of a shocker, but that kind of affected everyone, didn't it? Although it was like because that year, I suppose, 2020, we had so many plans, and we were about to take over the world, and all of the PowerPoints that we had couldn't have prepared us for the COVID-19 malarkey.
He's looking good and he's feeling fine. He's on the hunt for a glass of wine. Here, Mr. Keys a tan, or you'll meet the back of my hand. So frightening and super scary. It's just another shite bag if you don't.
Right, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. There's no going back now.
Stop.
Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleets, and do whatever thou wilt. Swift-footed time, to the wide world and all her fading sweets. Other than that, I suppose just, getting knackered and tired after a gig and being a sleepy boy. Those are, it's always the post-gig come down is always a nightmare. And you get home and you're like, having a little moment of drainage. That's a word.
The worst moment we have ever had in Pandacar was we were asked to play a gig in McCool's, and it was really early on, and we still hadn't really got a handle of the Glasgow music scene, and we didn't really know anybody that was there, or we had no idea. It was just we were booking gigs left, right and centre. Hats off to Eddie because he booked so many gigs in the early days. But this was the gig that sort of set up a ritual for Pandacar, or a recurring theme. And it was just a nightmare from start to finish. It was being run by guys who were maybe first year at uni, maybe. And when we got there, the drum kit had no legs, and they had to go outside and get a big fucking boulder from the car park and set it up against the drums. So Nathan was playing the drums and they were all leaning over to the side and they just kept hitting. And the guy who was running it, who was also in one of the bands, was just coming from me. He was the most insufferable guy in the world. It was just one of those stoner dudes, and he just had terrible lukewarm takes that he thought were the hottest takes ever. And it set up that sort of Pandacar thing where whenever we'd have an experience where everything seemed to be going wrong, and oh, we've not sold loads of tickets for this, or oh, we're on a totally wrong bill, or someone's being a dick or whatever, we would always play the best fucking show, even if it was to 2 people. And that sort of set that ball in motion, where whenever we'd experience something like that, we'd turn to each other and be like, okay, right, fuck it, we're gonna have a show like that. So yeah, it was the worst show experience, especially so early on. I could kind of see in Nathan's eyes that he was like, if this is every gig, I'm never fucking coming back. So yeah, badissimo.
Biggest regret would be that we still have 2 Luigi songs that we recorded 2 or 3 years ago, and we haven't released them. We didn't manage to film we managed to film 2 music videos, even though we've released 4 songs, and we still have 2 more to release, and we never got around to it. And yeah, just post-COVID, we never kind of managed to get back. We should have broken up in 2020, really. That would have been the best. Because 2019 was probably the best year that we had. It went it was 2017. We were figuring ourselves out. Do I even want to be in this band? Ooh, 2018, getting some notoriety. 2019, loads of gigs. COVID, come back after COVID, and it just down, up, down, but mostly down.
Double dip recession.
Can I say asking Eddie to be in the band is a regret? No, I guess maybe an actual real regret would be letting my sort of mental health and my dislike of social situations hold us back from making meaningful connections in the scene. I think that one side of the coin as to why we never really broke out of Scotland or really broke out of Glasgow was because I'd always be too nervous to speak to people and I'd just go home, or because of that I wouldn't book gigs and I'd leave it to Ed, and Ed gets busy and he can't do it. So I think a big regret is just not being more helpful. It's great I write the songs, but if I don't help sell those songs, if I just be the quiet one, then, you know, people don't come to the shows. It's all left up to Ed. So my biggest regret is leaving everything to Eddie. Mostly because he falls asleep and forgets to do stuff.
A regret about the band. I don't know. I don't think really, again, you know, it's the COVID thing always hangs over us. You know, you wonder what could have happened. I think there are moments where you wonder if, you know, if we'd had more time to do things. I think, you know, there's moments where it's like if we'd had, you know, endless opportunities to do every gig that came along or everything, you know. You always wonder what would have been, but things like, I suppose, you know, it's not really a regret, but like, you know, the excitement of being long-listed for Glastonbury and then not getting it, that was a bit gutting. Stuff like that, you know, where there are all these moments of somebody validates us and goes, these guys are amazing, and then it never actually leads anywhere. You know, there are so many times when people go, oh, you guys are so cool, and then nothing comes of it. And it's like, well, are we? Are we cool? Give us the gig then, please. I suppose that's not really a regret, more of a whinge. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really, yeah. I think regret is a strong word. Everything we've done in the band, I'm very proud of. It's external factors. It's the world working against us. That's what it is. It's the man trying to keep us down. Yes. We have played with a lot of bands over the years, and I've liked a lot of them, but I don't know how many of them were good. There is definitely an issue in Scottish music of a lot of, we'll call it dad rock, or wankery, to be quite honest. And it's a lot of bluesy guys playing Les Pauls with, like, you know, they've bought the 3000 Gibson to play in block, and it's like for like 10 minutes. Sorry. But I don't know, there have been some good bands. Unfortunately, they've been too good and they forget about us and they run away to fame and fortune.
We have played with some really, really good bands. Yeah, there's some stinkers out there that we've played with. You probably could consider us the stinkers of most sets, but we've played with some amazingly talented people. I mean, we're going to have to give a massive shout out to our good friends in Peplo. I've met them by chance and I've played a good few gigs with them. Had a nice experience of coming up together with them. Just the nicest people around, and they write bangers. Fucking release Dundee's a done deal. Hurry up, do it. So yeah, Peplo, awesome band. We obviously had Katie Gregson McLeod open for us when nobody fucking knew who she was, and she seemed like the nicest person as well, and I'm very happy that she got her moment in the sun, very well deserved. And we obviously played with lots of friends and things like that as well. It would be remiss of me to go into all the people that were Eddie's friends that we played with. And then obviously there's the bands that are no longer with us, like Quotes of the Dead. It's a shame. They burned bright and they're gone. I'm sad for that.
Were Pandacar any good? Were we actually any good? And I think there was a point where we were.
Were we any good? That's a good question. I think we had potential. And then for a brief moment, just before COVID, we were quite good. And then I think COVID really knocked our confidence. Although interestingly, even with all that time out and all the sporadic, things that happened in the following years, we had a lot of attention. Eddie won the quiz show and people listened to us because of that. And then we were long listed. So we must have been all right to be long listed for Glastonbury. But I think maybe half of the last few gigs that we've done have been peak Pandacar. There's also been terrible. I wouldn't necessarily say it's because of us. I think it's more just knowing that it's no more. Meant that some of our shows haven't been that good. But I think we played Audio recently and we were really good. The last King Tut's gig was really, really good. So I think we peaked just before COVID and then we never really got the momentum going again that let us move past the edge of being a really, really good band. We just sort of kept coming up and then, but with no more gigs, I think it's not necessarily that we weren't a good band, it's that we weren't consistent. I think if we'd been consistent and we had gigs and things to tell people and places for people to go, that would have kept the momentum for us. So were we a good band? We were as good as we were the night that you saw us play.
We were always the best band on any bill. Pandacar were. Every gig Pandacar played, we were the best band. That's the truth. We scared people. That's what it was. We scared them away. They couldn't handle it. It was too much. Why are we breaking up? Well, primarily because love is real and romance exists and the world is a beautiful place and I'm moving to Hawaii at some point in the next year, possibly. But due to the uncertainty of it, we're kind of calling time. We're sort of being mature and going, well, there's no point dragging this out. I might still be here next year. That's the annoying thing. We don't know. But officially, we're just easing out of it, just to make things a little more delicate and easy for everyone. It's an admin thing, really. We just want to have a date and make a scene. We're going to be like the Rolling Stones and just keep going. That's what's going to happen. It's all a scam.
But yeah, we mucked through somehow. We lasted 6 years, and I would consider them my best friends. So it's I'm incredibly sad that all this is coming to an end. It's been an outlet for us. It's been a bonding experience, and it's took us places that, even though they're very small and like Glasgow, whatever, we played some of Glasgow's big venues. We met loads of really cool people, and I guess it sort of shaped the person that I was in my mid-20s to my early 30s. I wouldn't be the person that I am if it wasn't for Pandacar and meeting the guys, and I genuinely think I might cry, because I'll miss some of this. I'll miss some of it. I won't miss Eddie sleeping in. Is there anything that I want to say? I guess for all the people who, came out, supported us, bought things, there's people that came to a lot of gigs, front row, danced their heart out, told their friends. Thank you. It gave us something to do for 6 years. It got us through a lot of tough times, and we couldn't have done it without people actually coming out and seeing us, or buying stuff online or interacting with us. And even though we never left a huge mark in the Glasgow music scene, sometimes it felt like it just because people would come up to us at the end of gigs and gush about how much they enjoyed the show, how much they like this song. Weird things like meeting Ed's father-in-law and him saying, "Oh, my favourite song's Where," and being like, people in Hawaii have heard Where. So yeah, thank you to all the oddballs out there that our music struck a chord with you. Thank you.
Do you have a message for the fans?
It's been a wonderful 6 years. You had your chance. You've soiled it. I don't know. We're going to gig again at some point. Come and see us and give us a hug. Buy things. There are things online. There's music online. Listen to it. It's been emotional. Yes.
If you liked us, why you should have come and seen us, shouldn't you?
Guess that's it. That's the end.